All right, listener, buckle up, because we're diving deep into a year of absolute chaos. England in 1659 and 1660.
Oh, yeah. A year of scheming politicians, forbidden romances, you name it.
We've even got the fall of one government and the rise of another, all crammed into just 12 months.
Definitely sounds like our kind of deep dive.
And to navigate this wild ride, we've got Aphra Behn's satirical play, The Roundheads.
A play?
Yeah, paired with some historical background, of course, to really set the scene.
That's a really interesting perspective. You know, Ben actually lived through this period.
So you're saying?
Well, her play, even though it's fictionalized, it really captures the atmosphere, the anxieties of the people living through such a volatile time.
I can only imagine. So let's set the stage. Richard Cromwell, son of the infamous Oliver Cromwell, has just been ousted from power.
Out but the old.
And guess who's back in charge?
Don't tell me. The Rump Parliament.
The one and only. The same parliament Oliver Cromwell had dissolved years earlier.
Oh, that's got to sting a little.
Talk about a comeback. And you know it's a wild time when they're roasting rumps of mutton in the streets.
Rumps of mutton.
Yeah, to symbolize, their dislike of the Rump Parliament.
Ah, I see. The term rump itself is important here. It was actually a derogatory term.
Really?
Yeah, coined by Royalists. This parliament, it wasn't the full body.
What do you mean?
Well, many members had been purged, you see, for their opposition to Cromwell. So it's just a small, and in their view, illegitimate remnant.
So not a very popular bunch then.
You could see that.
All right, so we've got this backdrop of political instability. And into this chaos steps not one, but two figures vying for control.
Ooh, a power struggle. Let's hear it.
Let's meet them, General Lambert and Lord Fleetwood.
Okay, so Lambert and Fleetwood. Lay it on me.
From the play and historical accounts, we see Lambert as a pretty cunning and ambitious general.
Sounds like a real go-getter.
Yeah, someone who's not afraid to use any means necessary to climb to the top. Now, Fleetwood.
Okay, Fleetwood.
He's portrayed as a more religious figure, a little less decisive, maybe a little too easily swayed by those around him.
Ah, so we have the classic power-hungry general versus the pious but malleable leader. This is shaping up to be good.
It's like a Shakespearean drama in the making. And of course, no good drama is complete without a strong female character.
And Ben delivers.
Oh, yeah. She gives us Lady Lambert.
Lady Lambert. Okay, tell me about her.
Well, she's ambitious, power-hungry. I mean, she imagines herself as queen.
Wow, she's going for it.
She even clashes with Cromwell's widow.
Now that's bold.
It's worth noting, that this was still a time when women were largely expected to stay in the domestic sphere.
Right.
So Lady Lambert's desire for power would have been seen as both audacious and, to some, threatening.
She's definitely breaking the mold.
Now, to make things even more complicated, Ben adds some fictional characters to the mix.
Oh, well, like what?
We've got a group of Royalists, also known as Cavaliers.
Cavaliers.
Yeah, and they add another layer of intrigue and romance to the story.
Romance, eh? I'm intrigued.
Exactly. These characters allow Ben to explore the theme of love across battle lines. We have Loveless.
Loveless, all right.
He's this dashing cavalier who catches the eye of, you guessed it, Lady Lambert.
No way. So
Yeah.
this woman, married to a powerful general vying for control of the country, falls for a man who represents everything her husband opposes.
The plot thickens. It sounds like Ben is really setting the stage for a clash of ideologies and desires.
This is getting good. Tell me more about this forbidden romance.
Well, in one scene, Lady Lambert faints, and Lovelace comes to her aid.
Okay.
And despite his royalist leanings, he's clearly captivated by her.
It's that classic opposites attract scenario, but with way higher stakes.
Definitely. She even attempts to sway him to her husband's side, with promises of wealth and power.
She's playing the game.
Oh, yeah. Even hints at the possibility of a crown.
Now that's a powerful incentive.
It's a fascinating exploration of how ambition and desire can blur the lines between love and political maneuvering.
Sounds like something straight out of a soap opera.
Oh,
But I thought you said there was another romance brewing in the play.
there is. Lovelace's friend, Freeman. He's romantically involved with Lady Desborough.
Another lady?
Yep, another royalist. But she's pretending to support the current government.
Oh, so they're playing a dangerous game.
Very dangerous, using the chaos to their advantage. And their romance adds another layer of complexity to the story.
So we have two forbidden romances adding fuel to this already volatile political fire. What else could go wrong?
Well, Ben doesn't stop there. She throws in a healthy dose of satire for good measure.
I knew there had to be more. Who's the target this time?
She uses this character named Ananias Goggle.
Ananias Goggle. That's a mouthful.
He's a hypocritical preacher.
Ah, so Ben is taking aim at religious hypocrisy. Makes sense, considering the whole backdrop of the English Civil War.
And remember, this was a period following that war. You know, a war fought partly over religious differences.
Right, so tensions are still running high.
And Goggle represents those who twist religious beliefs for their own gain.
Sounds like a real piece of work.
Oh, he is. In one scene, he's trying to seduce Lady Desborough while preaching about virtue.
Classic, the gap between words and actions.
It's that classic satire, you know.
So let me get this straight. We've got ambitious generals, love across enemy lines, religious hypocrisy, all swirling together in this chaotic period. It's a political thriller mixed with a romantic comedy.
That's one way to put it.
So what could possibly happen next?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Enter General Monk.
General Monk. Who's he?
He's a powerful figure arriving from Scotland. And let me tell you, he throws a wrench into everyone's plans.
Ooh, a new player enters the game. This is getting good. Hold on, we've got to unpack this General Monk. He sounds like a major player. Who is he? What are his intentions?
That's the million-dollar question. He's a shrewd operator, keeps his cards close to his chest, and his arrival sparks fear in the rump parliament and excitement among the Royalists.
Sounds like he's a wild card.
Oh, he definitely is.
Nobody knows where his loyalties lie.
Exactly. This is shaping up to be a real nail-biter. So much so that I think it's time for a quick break. We'll be right back to delve deeper into this fascinating chapter of English history in part 2 of our deep dive. Okay, we're back. And the tension is high. General Monk has just arrived in London.
I bet. It's like that moment in a movie when the hero walks into a saloon and the music stops. Everyone's waiting to see what he'll do.
He's definitely the wild card in all of this.
Yeah.
Will he support the rump parliament?
Or throw his weight behind Lambert.
Maybe even side with the Royalists and bring back the exiled king. Who knows?
He's definitely a strategic player. He knows he holds the power.
Oh, yeah. And he uses it.
Doesn't immediately declare his allegiance.
Just adds to the uncertainty. Makes everyone nervous.
Brilliant move.
So while everyone's sweating it out, waiting to see what he'll do, I imagine people are trying to win him over.
Oh, absolutely. The rump parliament is terrified of losing power. They try to appease Monk.
Do they succeed?
He sees right through them. They're the ones who had Charles I executed.
Right, so if the monarchy is restored, they're in a tough spot.
You could say that.
So while the rump parliament is busy trying to save themselves, what are the Royalists doing?
The Royalists see Monk as their potential savior. They're key to restoring the monarchy. Imagine the excitement.
Aphra Behn was a staunch Royalist herself.
It's possible her play reflects the hope many Royalists felt.
It's amazing how her play gives us a glimpse into the emotions of the different factions, but we've also got the Republicans to think about, the ones who want to keep England a commonwealth, free from kings.
Right. They see Monk as a potential threat. Everything they've fought for.
So it's not just a two-sided game anymore, it's a three-way power struggle.
With Monk right at the center.
Amidst all this drama, what about Lady Lambert and Lovelace? Where do they fit into all of this?
Well, we can imagine things between them intensify. The political climate's so volatile. She's caught between ambition and love for a man whose ideals clash with her husband's.
It's classic, really. Personal desires colliding with political realities.
Exactly. It adds that human dimension to the story.
Speaking of political maneuvering, what about General Lambert? The ambitious general who is hoping to seize power. What happens to him in all of this chaos?
Well, Monk's arrival throws a wrench in Lambert's plans. His support dwindles. People flock to this new power player. It all unravels pretty quickly.
So what becomes of Lambert?
He makes one last attempt to hold on to power. But ultimately,
He ends up imprisoned. Talk about a fall from grace.
it's a good reminder that things can change in an instant.
But as Lambert falls, someone else is about to rise. I have a feeling we're getting close to the resolution.
You're on the right track. But before we reveal the final outcome, remember that The Roundheads is a play. It takes liberties with the historical timeline.
Right, it's not a documentary, it's a dramatization. All right, well, let's take another quick break. We'll be back soon for the final act of this political drama. We're back for the final act of our deep dive. The tension is high. England, 1659-1660. We're about to witness the resolution of all this political maneuvering.
All the alliances shifting, ambitions clashing. It's really like the climax of a thriller.
Exactly. Last we left off, the ambitious General Lambert was imprisoned. So the path is open for, well, someone to take control. It's the moment our exiled king's been waiting for, right?
It is. Both the historical sources and even Behn's play point to that. A growing sense that Charles II will be restored. But it's fascinating how it all unfolds.
So how does it happen? Does Monk just roll out the red carpet?
Not quite. The first thing to go is the Rump Parliament. Remember, they signed Charles I's death warrant.
So once a restoration seemed possible, their days were numbered.
It's almost ironic, isn't it?
Totally. They thought they were in control, but...
Swept away by history.
Exactly. And Behn captures that in The Roundheads. She focuses on the public reaction to all of this.
A view from the streets, you could say.
Not just the halls of power.
Precisely. Bonfires, crowds cheering.
People reclaiming their power.
Even more rumps of mutton roasting.
Oh, yeah. They love that imagery. It's like this collective sigh of relief after years of uncertainty.
Maybe even a little defiance. Rejecting the old regime.
Our royalist characters, Lady Desborough and Freeman.
It's celebrating. Along with everyone else. The return of their king.
I bet the parties were wild. But what about Lady Lambert? Her husband's imprisoned. The guy she's fallen for is on the winning side.
Well, the sources don't say exactly how she reacted.
But I can't imagine she was thrilled.
Her ambitions are dashed.
It really highlights how personal desires clash with these political realities.
For sure. But the fact remains, Charles II is restored, back from exile, and the nation seems ready to embrace him again.
England flips from a republic back to a monarchy. Just like that. History doesn't move in a straight line, does it?
It's more of a pendulum,
Yeah.
back and forth. And Behn, writing just a few decades after these events, she really captured that.
The Roundheads gives us such a nuanced view. The political maneuvering, the personal dramas.
The anxieties of a nation in flux.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into England in 1659 and 1660. We saw the rise and fall of leaders, the twists and turns of love and ambition, and finally, the restoration of Charles II.
But as always, this is just the beginning.
We've only scratched the surface.
There's so much more to uncover about this period. The culture, the economics, the lasting impact of the restoration.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into history, and we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.